Hey guys, good morning. Today I want to talk about simplifying imaginary numbers with negative exponents. Now, first and foremost, if you do not know how to deal with imaginary numbers with positive exponents, you need to go back and watch that video. You will not, it's not going to happen. Okay, you're not going to jump to this level without knowing that. So if you didn't do yesterday's work, do yesterday's work. Okay, or 2 days ago's work. I'm sorry. So simplifying imaginary numbers with negative exponents. Now. I gave you guys some review work with negative exponents, but just remember, whenever I raise a number to a negative exponent, all I really need to do is take it, put it on the bottom of a fraction, and turn the exponent positive. Okay? So again, all you need to do, bring it down to the bottom of a fraction, make it positive. Now, here's the thing though, in math, leaving certain things in the denominator of a fraction is not considered appropriate. Like negative exponents to the bottom of a fraction, not appropriate. And in our case, I, the imaginary number, this is not an acceptable answer. You cannot have imaginary numbers at the bottom. It's not that you can't, it's that you shouldn't have your final. You want it simplified, and we can actually get this simpler than this form right here. Now, we said a lot of what we want to do with imaginary numbers is we want to divide by 4. So we made ourselves a little chart last time, and I'll write this. I have a full one for you. Well, we said anything raised to the 0 power was 1, right? And I to the first power is just I. And we said I to the second power is equal to -1. I to the third power is equal to -I. And I to the fourth power was equal to 1, right? And so this pattern repeated, like you just keep going and going and going. 1, I, -1, -I, 1, I. And so as these numbers go up, you could do that. So it became very easy if I said, hey, what's I to the 47th power? Pretty much what we said was we were looking for what the remainder was, okay, or what the decimal was, okay? So we pretty much want to know, hey, how many times is 4 going to 47? Because that just means 1, okay? So 47 divided by 4 is going to be 11.75. In other words, 11 with a remainder of 3/4, right, of 3 out of 4. So because we had a remainder of 3, that would be I to the third power, right? So in other words, what does this become? This becomes I to the fourth power 11 times, right? And then what do you have? Well, that gives us 44, right? And then what do we have left? I 3, 44, 45, 46, 47, right? So this becomes I to the third power, right? All these ones becomes 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, again, 11 times. Right? And 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times your remainder of 3 just gives us -I. So if I said, hey, what's I to the 47th, you need to know that it's -I. And again, if you don't know how to do that, please go back and watch the other video. Otherwise, this is not going to work, okay? So we said one of the convenient things we can do is we can kind of use our calculator and we can look for the remainder, okay? Or we can look for the decimal. So in other words, if your decimal, when you divide, so this one has 0.0, in other words, no remainder. If you had a remainder of 0.25, if you had a remainder of 0.5, if you had a remainder of 0.75, and if you had no remainder, right? So pretty much what we were looking for was these guys right here, right? If we had remainders of these, right, then we would go ahead and we would say, all right, well, the answer, if I have a remainder of 0.25, then the answer is I. If I have a remainder of 0.5, the answer is -1. So if I said, what is I to the 475th power? So I'm going to take 475, divide by 4, and I'm going to get 0.75 is my answer. 0.75 is my answer, then the answer to this problem is -I. Okay? So it's pretty much that simple. What we want to talk about today are what happens when we have negative numbers. Now, if I said, what is I to the negative fifth power, right? First of all, like we said, all that means is we're going to take that and put that at the bottom of a fraction. So now I have I to the fifth. But the problem is leaving this as I to the fifth on the bottom of a fraction is that's not appropriate, okay? So what I want to do is I want to make the denominator of this fraction 1, okay? In other words, I need my exponent to be a multiple of 4. So things that are okay. I to the fourth, I to the eighth, I to the 12th, I to the 16th. You want it to be one of these numbers right here, okay? And what we can do is I have I to the fifth. I want it to be I to the eighth, okay? Because that will make it 1, because I to the eighth power is 1. So what am I going to do? I'm going to multiply the bottom by I to the third, because I to the fifth times I to the third is I to the eighth, okay? But like anything, what do I have to make sure I do with a fraction? Like 4th grade math skill, if I need to multiply the bottom by 3, I have to multiply the top by I to the 3. I to the fifth times I to the third is I to the eighth. We'll write it out for now. You don't always need to do that. And the top 1 times I to the third is I to the third. Well, now I to the eighth is 1, right? 8 divided by 4 is 2. No remainder in my decimal. And so what am I left with? Just I to the third. But go the extra mile. What is I to the third? Negative I. Okay? So what is the answer to this problem? Negative I. All right? Yeah, it's tricky. I don't know what else to tell you guys. It is hard. You guys are in a high level of math. So let's do a few more. What if I said I to the negative, I don't know, 14th power? Well, again, that's 1 over I to the 14th, right? So now 14 is not divisible by 4. What's the next number bigger than 14 that's divisible by 4? It's not 15. It is 16. So I need the denominator of this to be to the 16th power. Well, how do I make it to the 16th power? Well, 14, I to the 14th times I to the second. Okay, so again, 14, I to the 14th times I to the second is going to be I to the 16th. Again, I'll write it out for now. We're not always going to write it out. And this is going to be I to the second. I to the 16th is just 1, right? 16 divided by 4 is 4. That is a no remainder answer. And so what am I left with? I squared, which in this case is negative 1. So I would say until you get this down, keep this chart right next to you, okay? I made a nice one for you guys and put it on the website so you guys can use it if you need it, okay? Let's see, though. Let's do one more. Hold on a second. My cat is going crazy behind me. Sorry. All right. So again, what if I said, I don't know, I to the 15th, I to the negative 15th, okay? Again, that is 1 over I to the 15th. Okay, I need that to be to the 16th, so I'm going to multiply the bottom by 1. 15 plus 1 more is going to make 16. And what do I get here? I get I. Okay? So here's what I suggest you do, okay? Make yourself a little table. Okay? Just like we had this one for the positive numbers, we have one for the negative numbers. And we can continue the pattern. Okay? The problem is, well, we are kind of going to be dealing with 3 different patterns here. Okay? These numbers are going down by 1. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So no big deal there. Move this down a little bit. Get this out of the way. Okay, let me get this out of the way. You can follow the pattern, but the problem is that the numbers are going in different orders. This pattern will continue. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. This pattern will continue. 1, negative I, negative 1I, 1, okay, and then back, negative I, negative 1I. The problem is your divisibility rules are not going to reverse, okay, that they're not going to continue the same pattern. They're going to essentially have some symmetry about 0, okay? So let's think about this. If I had why the smartboard makes me write in crayon, I will never know. And there's, oh, I made it dead. I love you, smartboard. You're the best. Even when I'm not in my classroom, smartboard always failing me. And we're back. Okay. Again, why the smartboard makes me write in crayon, I have no idea. Okay. Right, so again, what would the pattern be? 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4. Okay. Again, what would the pattern be here? Well, it was 1, negative I, negative 1, I, 1, and then the pattern repeats. So what was before 1? Negative I. What was before negative Y? Negative 1. What was before that? I. And what was before that? 1. So this pattern will repeat as well, okay? But the problem is, if you think about these numbers, is that they are going to reverse. This will have remainder this, 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 and this, okay? So our numbers are going to reverse. Now, the good news for us is that any multiple of 4, whether it's positive or negative, gives you 1. So if I said, hey, what's I to the negative 24th power? It's 1, because negative 24 is divisible by 4. Okay, so again, what do we say? We're going to say negative 20, oops, turn on first. Negative 24 divided by 4. Again, since there's no decimal, the answer is 1. Okay, so that's the good news for us. And the same thing can be said, anything that ends in 0.5. So if I said, hey, what's I to the negative 26? If it ends in 8.5, so if I said negative 26 divided by 4, that does not change, okay? That still ends in 0.5, that's going to be negative 1, just like when it was positive. So it ends in 0.5, so that will be negative 1, okay? What if I said, though, I to the negative 27th? Well, negative 27 divided by 4 is going to be 0.75. So it's negative 0.75, that would be I. Okay? So again, what I would like you guys to do, I'm going to go ahead, I will put this chart on there, okay? All you need to do is take the exponent and divide it by 4. If it is positive and you don't have a remainder, the answer is 1. If it's positive and your remainder is 0.25, it's I. If it's positive and your remainder is 0.5, your answer is negative 1. On the other side, though, and I will put on here negative numbers, okay? If your remainder is negative and 0.25, negative 0.75, these are your answers right here. So let that marinate for today. Tomorrow I will go over a bunch of very specific examples that will hopefully help you guys out. I know this is heavy. This is about as heavy as we can get. So if you're having a hard time with this, send me questions. If you're having a hard time with this, I will do my best to explain this. It is much more difficult to do this over the computer than it is to do in person. So I'll go over some specific questions tomorrow. Have a shot at this, and we'll pick this up on Friday. Thanks.